Hi everyone, today we're going to learn how to write a melody to a poetry couplet. So this is one of the questions in the 4th grade theory exam, and we're going to walk through the basic steps for, I guess, what's a particular way of answering this question, but it's a simple one and a simple formula that you can learn to get started with. So if you've looked at my 3rd grade melody question, being able to take a poem, a poetry couplet, and to work out the strong syllables in the poem is essential before we start to try to put an actual melody to it. So basically, we need to decide a few things. We need to look at the poem and see what's it like. Is it happy, sad? So here we have the summer rain falls gently down with the silver sunlight on the ground. So it's happy. It's a beautiful morning, perhaps. The rain's falling gently down. So that's kind of nice. It's not a thunderstorm or anything. With silver sunlight, we've got beautiful alliteration there. And the glistening of the rain against the sunlight. Sounds like something beautiful. So a beautiful scene and perhaps provides us some opportunity to word paint. We'll get into that a bit later. So I'm going to decide on a major key. So for this one, I'm just going to do it in C major. Now, you need to say the poem and try to say the strengths to determine, is it going to work best in a duple feel, so with 2 syllables, or is it going to work better in either 3, 4, or 6, 8 with sort of 3 syllable groupings. So you need to determine, first of all, what are the strong syllables. So you can start off and try to say it in a duple way. So you could go, the summer rain falls gently down. And you can see that that's fitting quite well. If I tried to do that with a 3-syllable triplet feel, the summer rain falls gently down. And it's just feeling really weird, so you wouldn't do that. All right, so I think we can establish 4/4 will work well. And now we need to determine what are the strong syllables. So I might just try and, let's see if I can underline the strong ones. There we go. The summer rain falls gently down. Down is strong. Now, with the silver sunlight on the ground is going to become uneven. So really we're looking for, particularly with 4/4, we're looking for 4 strong syllables on each line to make it balanced. All right, that's how it works the best. If you get 4 strong syllables on each line, then you can align those strong syllables with the strong beats of the bar, and you end up with a balanced melody. If there's an uneven number of strong syllables, if there's a shorter line, well, then you might just have to hold a note for longer, so you'll have to adjust to that. But I think what we have is we might have to turn both of these with into a second anacrusis onto the second line, because I think silver, that's strong, sunlight on the ground. So down, because down is strong, it's going to be on the 3rd beat of the bar. Therefore, I'm going to have the 4th beat of that second bar, and I'll be able to fit with the on the end of that second bar. So you'll see how we do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chuck some crotchets down here. Let's do it all in crotchets first. All right, let's just lay them out And because we've got an anacrusis, that last one, we're not going to need that last beat. So you're writing a very traditional melody is what is required. So it has to work as a bit of a round. So you'll start here with an anacrusis. Then you'll take off that last beat so that it can circle around. Okay, so let's see if we can fit. So fit the strong syllables on the strong beats, and then you'll see what I mean about the fourth beat of the second bar, right? So the summer rain falls gently down. So that's working. So all of my strong syllables have been on the first and third beats of the bar. Strong syllables must be on the strong beats of the bar. Otherwise it's going to sound very odd. So that leaves then, what are we going to do for the fourth beat of this second bar? Because we've got to put silver onto the start of the third bar. So I'm going to turn the fourth beat into two quavers because we've got with the. All right, so I can write these words in now. So the sum, now I have to put a hyphen because I'm breaking up those words with two notes. The summer rain falls hyphen-ly down with the silver sunlight on the ground. Okay, so write it out in crotchets so that you can work out the strong syllables against the strong beats as a template before we try and do the melody, right? So that's the best way to lay it out, and then obviously we don't need this rest. Let's see if I can hide that. There we go. All right, so we've got the rhythm. We'll do further embellishments, so you don't want to leave it all in crotchets. That's going to be terribly boring. All right, now we need to work out how we're going to construct the melody. So now that we get to fourth grade, we really need to be a little more structured about the way we choose the notes. It's best to form a chord progression underneath to guide you as to the notes in your melody. Now, when you looked at third grade and you wrote the melody for third grade, if you did third grade, it was possible to be able to do a simple chord progression for that, or you could just carefully wind the notes around. For this, it's best to be a little more structured. Now, so we're going to start on chord 1, so I'm going to use Roman numerals for this. Look at that, they're going to get in the way of my lyrics. How irritating is that? I might just use text. Chord 1, we'll pop it down here. Let's give us a bit more room. So I should start with the anacrusis, to be honest. Wait, I'm just not having a good time here with, here we go, chord 5. So we'll start, the anacrusis is typically a note from chord 5. Normally dominant to tonic would be the traditional way to go. So then chord 1, so we want chord 1 for the first two notes of the bar. Then I'm going to go to chord 4. Now this is only one solution. It's not the only solution. There's lots of ways to structure this, but we need it to be a very gentle question and answer, simple solution. So let's not complicate things. So if we go to chord 1, then we could go to chord 4, then we could go to chord 1 here, so that then we can have an imperfect cadence on this third beat by going to chord 5. So we've got 1 to 5, and that leaves our first phrase open-ended. Now we need a bit of diversion, so we could go to chord 6, and then we could go to chord 4, and that sort of keeps us away from the cadence point, gives us a bit of a diversion from tonic and dominant harmonies, and then we're going to return and a bit of a cadential ending, chord 1 and chord 5, giving us that perfect cadence at the end, and then chord 1. So I normally encourage students, because we're doing this in C major, I would encourage when they're doing this for the first time, just do 3, 2, 1 at the end to steer the melody back to the tonic note. Don't do anything crazy when you're doing this for the first time. Yes, you do want to embellish it as much as you can in an interesting way, but you do need to keep control of it and make sure that some of these essential features, like returning to the tonic, is in place. So let's keep it simple. And so here you can see I'm just using the scale degrees 3, 2, and 1. All right, and that will ensure that students doing it for the first time won't do anything crazy. Right, okay. So now I've got a simple chord progression laid out. It's not the only way to do it, but it's certainly one way of doing it. Right, now, so I might leave that anacrusis there on the dominant note of the key, the 5th, which belongs to chord 5. Now, we need 2 notes from chord 1. Now, I could go up to the tonic, or I could go down to the tonic. Thus, I think that would be a little severe. You can start on the 3rd of the chord, and which is what I think I might do here, because that will be softer and maybe a more gentle landing onto chord 1. Gentle is what we're into here, so I'm trying to create a nice flow. And then I could go down to the tonic. So there's 2 notes from chord 1. If you need to, write your chords out. I advise this for students who are really not sure yet of the notes in the triad. So there's chord 1. If you need this, use it to help you so that you do the right thing, particularly in an exam. So if you do need to know the notes in the chords, that's very important. So you don't want to get that wrong. Right, so there we go. That's the notes of chord 5. I'll do that when I get to it. Right, so out of C, E, G, I've got an E and a C. That's going to sound like chord 1. All right, now, what am I going to do here for chord 4? Well, I've got F, A, and C. Well, I would like to take advantage of these words that I could word paint. What does word painting mean? Well, when you're writing a melody, you can take a particular word or phrase maybe, and you can interpret it in some way to provide a literal meaning to the word in the way the notes of the melody are laid out. So for example, rain falls to the ground. So if I went up high, I could then picture the rain falling down. If I could make this melody step down, then I would be creating the meaning of the words in the shape of my melody. So it's not always easy to achieve, but it's amazing if you use your imagination what you can come up with. And you never know. Sometimes words can just lend themselves to certain melodic contours. that's always interesting to see if you can find those moments. Right, so the octave, by the way, leaping an octave is actually a really beautiful thing to do. An octave leap in a melody is fantastic. Think about the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Okay, so if I had an octave leap here, C belongs to chord 4, and then that would give me an easy leap from the tonic note of the scale, so that wouldn't be difficult. And then I have an opportunity here to create the meaning of the words. So C and A, that certainly works for chord 4. Back to chord 1 here, C, E, G, so I've got a G and an E, and then going down to the D, which belongs, of course, to chord 5. Now, I've got my 2 extra words there. Now, I've got chord 6, so what am I going to do for chord 6? I might try and repeat the process. So what have we got in chord 6 here? I'll just write the notes of the chord. E, C, A, and that's chord 6. There we go. I always like to write it. You can see the way I've written that out because you can see the root note on the bottom. Music always works from the bottom up. That's the way sound works. So that helps you to see the root note on the bottom. All right, that's a good lesson for doing 4-part harmony. All right, so now I'm going to try and see if I can repeat the process. Now, because I want to come down, because the sunlight's falling down as well. So I'm out to try and achieve 2 things here. So I've got leaping back up. Leaping a 6th is a beautiful thing. Oh, by the way, just back onto that octave thing. If you do leap an octave, you should try to come or continue your melodic contour in the opposite direction. So if you leap up an octave, then you should try to come down after that. Here I'm leaping up a 6th. Beautiful thing to do. That's also very attractive in a melody. Now I'm going to, we need 2 notes from chord 4. I'm going to keep the C there because I want to show you a little trick. So I'm doing certain things because I want to show you some embellishing tricks. And then all the way down, a leap of a 5th, nothing wrong with that. And then I'm stepping down. Okay, so there's my melody in a very simple way. Now I'm going to see if I can embellish this a bit more. All right. Now, one trick is I could take the first crotchet there on the strong beat and I could just simply turn that into a dotted crotchet and quaver. So there's one form of embellishment, gives us a rhythmical idea. I can also do that here. I could do that there. Now, you can only do that on a strong beat. So I couldn't do, for example, I couldn't do it here because that's on a weak beat and we're crossing over the halfway point of the bar. So if you're going to do the crotchet quaver embellishment thing, then make sure it's on a strong beat of a bar. Okay. Now, another form of embellishing is a passing note. So here we're going from chord 5, and I've got the G of chord 5 going down to the E of chord 6. So they're a third apart. So what you can do is add a passing note. So the F here is not part of that chord, but it's in between the G and the E. Sorry, that's on a different line. It's a bit hard to see it as a passing note. So the F in this instance is a passing note off the beat on the weak beat, passing between two notes that are a third apart on the beat. So with, here the G is on the beat, and the E here is on the beat, and the F off the beat is stepping, helping us to step smoothly, adding some more scale steps to the melody. Okay, that's another form of embellishment. Now, another way of embellishing is to use a neighbour note. So if you have two notes the same, that's a bit boring, but there is a way that we can embellish that so that it becomes a bit more interesting. So a neighbour note is if you step off the beat to a note that's not in the chord that then steps right back to the same note again. Right? That's a neighbour note. Now, another form of embellishment is a chordal skip, where you can leap to another note in the chord off the beat. So here we have chord 4, which is FAC. I was on the note C and I was going to leap down to the F, but I could, as a form of embellishing, add the A in between, which is also part of the chord. So that's a chordal skip, leaping to another note in the chord. And that's another form of melodic embellishment. All right, now here, this is a little plain, but if we use some off the beat notes, we might be able to embellish this one as well. So another chordal skip, and now a final form of embellishment is an anticipation note, where we anticipate the final note before we actually arrive at it. So there's another form of embellishment. All right, so there's a chordal skip there, and then we have an anticipation note as we anticipate returning to the tonic. All right, so now this melody is going to be a lot more interesting. I'm going to play it for you in a moment. In fact, worse still, I'm actually going to sing it for you. So this could be the end of my career. However, to be helpful to you, I will sing it for you, and you'll just have to bear with that. Now, before I do terrify you with my singing, I might just fix that because that's looking a bit weird. There we go, fixed that one. Is there anything? This one's looking a bit weird. We'll just tidy this up a bit. Gent-Lee. There we go. Everything else in place. Now, there's something else we need to do. So we've hyphenated the words that are split. That's very important. We need some slurs here. So make sure you add your slur to show your phrases. That's also very important. Okay, so we've got the first phrase and got the second phrase. Now, we also have to add melisma slurs where you have used two notes for one syllable. So it happens when you're embellishing, if you add another note off the beat, either a passing note or a neighbour note or chordal skip, that you may have the situation where you have one syllable and two notes. If you do, you must add a melismatic slur. Melisma is where you have two or more notes per a syllable, right? Single syllable. So there we go. So sun, I've got two notes for that sun syllable. Here is a bit different, where I had the with the, there's two words. So there's actually a word on this off the beat, so there's no need to do a slur. This slur here is part of the overall phrase slur. But here, the word on, I've got two notes for that word, so I need to slur. Here I've got another 2 notes for the word the. So I need another slur there. All right, so if I've got all my slurs, then I think we're good. I think I can now demonstrate this, and you can judge, well, you can judge my melody. You can also judge my singing, but don't be too harsh. It'll sound terrible, but it'll give you an idea. All right, enjoy. The summer rain falls gently down with the silver sunlight on